But we have Heather May with us today. And a client, she just come on and you would broke your wrist and you still came to Atlanta for the mastermind. And I was like, I'll never forget that. I'm like, so many people would have emailed us and said, and totally legit, by the way, right? Totally legit. I can't come. I'm physically, I can't carry luggage. And you brought somebody to take notes for you because the wrist that you broke was in your dominant hand. That's like the power of frickin' decision. I didn't even realize, Priscilla, you just ironically picked the right day for the right person. So I want to welcome Heather, who's been a client with us just a few months now. And she had just started with us when she went to that mastermind. And I know a couple of the things you had, you were somebody kind of in a busy mode and the definition of busy. So just real quick, kind of like when you started working with us, what were some of the problems you wanted to solve? And then not to use this, again, we're always using it to show people evidence that working with us, just full disclosure, helps them ease their business. But I also want these to be helpful for you as a listener. What were the things you put in place, Heather, to kind of shift that thinking?
Thank you. I think making the decision, I just wrote down, I mean, I've gone through this training and I'm still learning, but nothing happens until you make a decision. When I finally made the decision, and Priscilla can attest to going back and forth, do I do it, do I not? And then I broke my wrist. But when you finally make the decision, you just go full speed ahead. And I made the decision that what I was doing wasn't working. So I needed to do something different. And I clearly couldn't do it alone. So I needed some help. So knowing that there was coaching, knowing that there was a structure, knowing that it was, what I didn't know was that I was going to have an awareness of what I wasn't doing, and that being busy wasn't the answer. Being productive is the answer, but just, doing stuff, because you do get, being busy is doing the laundry and emptying the dishwasher and getting another cup of water. And before you know it, 20 minutes has passed and you've got nothing done.
So how did you put structure around that so it worked for you?
Well, I learned about time blocking. I learned about metrics. I don't know if you can see this. And I will say that I broke my arm again, so I'm still in a cast. But I have this little cheat sheet and I keep everything, every call that I make, I have a tick, and I realized that, wow, I wasn't as busy as I thought I was, or yay, Heather, look how many calls you made today. So knowing what metrics to follow, knowing that metrics even exist and the value of them, and being aware of how to do that, and having a system to check myself and have someone help me say, well, this is what you've done, this is what you could do, or how can we help you get to that next point?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, and Kaido and Francis, feel free to jump in too, it's because it's around the mindset stuff. You just started looking at the areas and the things that were getting in the way, that just busy, and kind of what I heard layered in there is then you knew what the right things to work on were and started counting them.
Right.
We're going to give you that cheat sheet tomorrow that she's talking about as one of the downloads, and kind of what the right metrics was. So, and then I think the other belief you had was, or at least belief or shift you had, was in getting retainers or money up front.
Yeah. So I, recognizing that I have a value, that I'm really good at what I do, and remembering that, and feeling that what I'm giving to my client had value, and that they should pay me in response to that value. So making sure that I was going to get in advance, have that conversation in advance, and know that I'm going to get a retainer, or at least ask for it. Sometimes it's even, you're afraid to ask.
Yep.
So making sure that you do that and don't leave it up to them. This is a partnership. You're working with a client, so it's not only what they want. What they want. They want the right candidate, and they want to spend as little money as possible. You have good candidates. You have the capability of finding the good candidates, and you're worth the value of asking for it. And sometimes you do have to walk away. I mean, I had a client this morning, and I'm trying to decide. And I have a call with my coach this afternoon, and that's what we'll discuss. Is this someone I should walk away from?
Heather, I'm curious. We haven't worked together before. Would you say that you've grown as your business? It sounds like I'm hearing some personal development there. Have you grown as a person?
Absolutely. I think some of the strategies, and this is not a therapy session, but some of the strategies that you have, I guess, particularly because I broke my arm, I didn't realize how many times I said, I can't. And when my occupational therapy says, just squeeze it a little harder. Yes, you can. And making sure that you push yourself, as opposed to saying it hurts. I don't want to, I've never done it before. I can't. So yes, I'm using the same strategies in my life. And for me, it's just very timely because of this physical, difficulty, challenge that I have. And, after my coaching session, our group coaching session that you have every Monday, what didn't you accomplish last week? And I knew I didn't accomplish enough marketing calls. So put on my calendar 2 to 3. That's all I did yesterday. Even with one hand of typing, I just banged through these calls and just doing it. And then feeling really good about it. So so it's not only advancing my business, but feeling like, holy crap, I can do that, even with one hand.
Awesome. Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
And it's,
someone says, lend me a hand, I need it.
But
yeah,
see,
I'm sorry.
what I love about it is like you just decided, right? And it's like, okay, and we're never perfect when we decide, right? When we implement imperfectly, but it's now catching yourself in a day or two versus 3 months later, I don't have enough to work on.
Absolutely. And because I made the decision to do something, I'm putting things in place in advance. Like I decided to go with a virtual assistant, which I'm sure you guys will talk about in another time, and a researcher. And I said, something I want to do down the road is to expand this list of companies. And it's been out there. They've been working on it. And I'm like, this is a perfect time to just plow through that list when I can't take that much, that many detailed notes on, a candidate call. So if I plow through my marketing company calls and, I'm not going to get a connect with every single one. So I can type for whatever short period of time, but I'm just blowing through them. I'm using something that I had put in place. Now is the best time to implement it.
And just to sum it all up real quick, kind of what are the results you've seen for yourself and your business in the last like 2, 3, I think by 3 months?
Mm-hmm. I've got jobs to work on. So actual job orders. And that's repeat business from one particular client. I uncovered an opportunity just yesterday that I'm following up on. These are candidates, and you'll talk about flip calls, but I called someone, I thought they'd be a good candidate, and turns out they were way too senior. I was like, okay, so tell me about your company. And I uncovered something that, that was not my intent, but it was something that I learned how to do, and to say, oh, okay, you're not right for this, somebody hang up. And I kept the person on the phone, and then you start hearing them say, well, what I really want is like ding, ding, ding. So that's what that's the real gold. And I know that I can do it. It's that feeling that every time you get off a call, it's like you just want to dance around the room, but you don't, because you're going to spend too much time doing that. You can do that later. But it's, when you have such a great call, the next one, first of all, you want to make that next call. It's like, oh, I'll make one more. I'll just do another one. And then you're smiling, and they can hear you smile, and they can hear that you're positive, and they can hear that you're, and not all of them are Zoom. So, I know that I'm positive and happy and smiling, and okay, so this one was not so great. That's okay. But the next one will be. So you don't feel like you don't want to make any more phone calls. It spurs you on to do it some more.
Yeah. We never get 100%.
Yeah.
We're getting
And
a
I
small
think,
fraction of that.
Yeah, and recognizing that. So, okay, not this one, next.
And one technique I always used to use was, I knew it was, for me, I think my ratio was 11-to-1, cold marketing presentations to an assignment that I was going to work. So I knew I needed 10 no's. I needed 10 people. And how do we hear no, Heather, right? No, not now. thanks for calling. I just hired somebody. We don't need somebody till October. Call me back in, in October, whatever. The no's aren't like, go away, you pond sucking recruiter. It's just, no, not now. And like you said, they're pleasant calls and they've teed you up, I would imagine, right? A lot of them for how they'd want to work with you when they do need you.
Right. Or what I call them about, even if I have someone that I wanted to promote, I don't know what you've already covered in NPC, or you really want to focus on a specific candidate. No, I don't need that. Oh, okay. Well, what do you need? And to me, it's just keeping them on the phone and you're developing that relationship with them. So even if you get off the phone and you don't come out with a job order, but you came out with a new relationship. So, and this is someone that you can call back and say, oh, how have things been since, August 17th when we last spoke? And then I try to make a joke about, oh, thank goodness for CRMs or else I'd forget, my left arm. So it's trying to find any hook, anything that you can use to have that next conversation and to continue that and grow that relationship.
Great insights. Anything I didn't ask you about that you want to share quickly, kind of in wrapping it up?
I think overall, two things. I think, and I didn't have this planned or thought about, it's that decision, knowing that you've made the decision. I'm one of those people that once they decide on vanilla ice cream, I'm not going to look back at chocolate. It's like, I've made it, I'm going to eat my vanilla ice cream. So it's finally making that decision to have ice cream and then to choose your flavor. Number one. And number two is recognizing, being aware. It's that awareness that, like, wait, don't bother me, I'm busy. Like, busy doing what? And I think that awareness has really changed my mindset and my business and my ability to be way more productive.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And sorry,
now, if I could fix my arm.
I think God's sending you some kind of message. You've been ultra productive ever since that arm's been broken.
Oh, I want to tell you,
once it was healed, we had to break it again.
Yes. It's funny. I had said to my mindset coach, I said, you know what? It's such an icebreaker. I say, please talk slowly because I have a broken arm. And they're like, oh my goodness, what happened? And so we would start chatting. And I said, maybe I'll keep the cast. And I don't know if that was a jinx, and now it happened again. So I think I'll keep my mouth shut and just have the conversation without the prop.
Thank you so much, Heather. I appreciate you sharing kind of your story and giving some insights to other people kind of in a similar situation. So if you read into the chat, you'll
someone else broke their arm.
that they resonate with, actually kind of like you've been an inspiration. So
well,
thanks
thank
so much
you.
for sharing.
Mike, can I jump in for 2 seconds real quick?
Sure, of course.
What I really appreciate about this conversation is that she started off talking about what was happening wasn't working. What she was doing wasn't working. And then I'm not even sure what question you asked her, but her answer was, when you talked about dancing, was, I believe that I can do it now. Mm-hmm. And that belief that she can do it has her thinking thoughts of doing it, has her taking action of someone who can do it, and she's getting the results of someone who can do it. So that shift that you can see is just really amazing. So yeah, it's really exciting for her.
Well, I think, and I'm sure Francis either has or will talk about it, is that evidence. And it's constantly reminding yourself of, okay, if you have that self-doubt because you've had 9 no's, and then you're like, well, but I made a placement. I made several placements. That's why I got into this business, and I can do it. And I did do it, and I will do it. So it's okay. So it's a temporary setback. Oh, well, next. So
excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you. Good luck, everyone.